Alpha Tauri's Nyck de Vries has struggled this season, failing to score any points in 10 races. Let's uncover the hidden motivations behind Alpha Tauri's decision to hire Ricciardo. Nyck de Vries has had a disastrous start to his F1 career, with no points in his first 10 races, and a former race winner in Daniel Ricciardo waiting in the wings. It appears that de Vries' time has run out. Red Bull is renowned for being ruthless. Just ask Alex Albon. But even by their standards, this seems harsh. At Silverstone this weekend, you could see Nyck de Vries was far off the pace. He was lost again. He's by no means inexperienced, but he certainly is struggling now he's an F1 rookie, and you would have expected him to have more than 10 races to himself. But it appears that there was more than one reason why he got the sack, and it's not really what we expected. The real question is, was Nyck de Vries set up for failure from the start? IndyCar racer Colton Herter had been approached only for the FIA to block the move, and Alpha Tauri chief Franz Tost wanted Mick Schumacher to fill the gasoline seat, but he was overruled, and de Vries was chosen to race alongside Yuki Tsunoda. He was Marco's choice after a meeting between them. Marco confessed this week that the toss was not the only option that he favored in the weeks following his spectacular Monza performance. Christian Horner, the Austrian principal of Red Bull Racing, told the Inside Line podcast that he disagreed with his pick. Not often, but sometimes. And that the last one I would say de Vries basically it's Alpha Tauri. But we're a big family and we get opinions. According to Marco, Werner was not a fan of de Vries, and it appears that Horner was correct. So surely Marco has to take the blame for his unsuccessful F1 career. Let us not forget that de Vries is a Formula 2 and Formula E champion, and has driven for WEC machinery as well as being the Mercedes F1 reserve driver. He is a versatile, capable driver, but as many before him and many after will find, sometimes that's just not enough to survive the Piranha Club. Until the Spanish Grand Prix in June, Bahrain was the only conventional circuit, and street races in Saudi Arabia were the only option. Australia was also the first F1 sprint to enter the season, meaning de Vries had only one practice session during his maiden visit to Baku in Grand Prix machinery. Interestingly, neither has had any extra pressure put on the drivers to improve their results, which cannot be said for Nyck, who is in a bit of a transition with Alpha Tauri. Was it really fair to eliminate him so quickly? After the Saudi Grand Prix, the outgoing team principal even stated that he did not trust his engineers. This is not a welcoming environment for a rookie, even one as versatile as de Vries. How can he even begin to prosper and knuckle down if the boss launches such extraordinary broadsides against his own team? In the end, as soon as de Vries received a hurry-up from Marco, the outcome was inevitable. De Vries deserved at least one full season to improve, but he chose to play for the one team where it was simply not going to happen. Marco needs to understand that not all drivers can be plugged in and played like batteries. Each is unique and can blossom into a capable and handy driver with a little TLC. While whether de Vries was going to discover his mojo, we will never know. The man stepping in to replace de Vries will be none other than everyone's favorite Aussie racing driver, Daniel Ricciardo. See how he said racing driver? Because we know everyone's favorite Aussie is actually Kylie Minogue. But Franz is tasked with confirming that Ricciardo will be coming back. "I'm delighted to welcome Daniel back to the team," said Franz Tost, team principal of Scuderia Alpha Tauri. "There's no doubt about his driving ability, and he already knows many of us, so his integration will be simple and straightforward. The team will benefit greatly from his experience as an 8-time Formula 1 Grand Prix champion. I would like to thank Nyck for his tremendous contribution during his time with Scuderia Alpha Tauri, and I wish him all the best for the future." Daniel Ricciardo recently changed his mind regarding his future in an interview. Before the Australian Grand Prix, he was quoted as saying that he didn't want to come back and be at the back of the grid, that he wanted to join and be competitive. Then all of a sudden, he changed his mind and said he doesn't mind joining the Alpha Tauri team, which is very suspicious and leads us to believe that there is some backroom talk going on. with Horner saying that he was very impressed by Daniel in the recent trial runs. It's great to see Daniel hasn't lost any form while being away from racing, and that the progress he's been making in the sim sessions translates on track, Horner said. His times during the tire test were extremely competitive. It was a very impressive drive, and we are excited to see what the rest of the season holds for Daniel on loan at Scuderia Alpha Tauri. Daniel's pace around Silverstone was so fast that he would have finished second in the previous Silverstone race. However, it must be noted that the conditions were better, and a far more favorable tire was used. We're not gonna lie, we can't wait to see the Aussie back in the car. We also love the idea of a comeback story, and Ricciardo finally getting to shut his critics up and show them what he can do and that he hasn't lost it, and he certainly seems up for it after his recent statement. A smiling Ricciardo who had hinted that, "This is all excellent, since I'm excited to be back on the track with the Red Bull family." But why didn't Red Bull or Alpha Tauri give Nyck more time to showcase himself? 10 races is nothing, and he would have undoubtedly progressed significantly, according to several sources. According to sources, Nyck failed to achieve the sim benchmarks that Yuki established, and he was allowed a few more rounds to hit those benchmarks on the track, but he just couldn't. There's another reason why Daniel might have replaced Nyck, and it has nothing to do with money. It's no secret that Alpha Tauri is going through a thorough rebranding process, and Daniel Ricciardo is a lot more marketable than Nyck de Vries, which adds another edge as to why they chose Daniel Ricciardo. But why Daniel and not Liam Lawson? Many expected the impressive Kiwi to step in instead of Daniel, but this is due to Red Bull not wanting Liam's development to be hampered mid-season, and his confidence to be shot by driving the ATO4, which, let's be honest, is junk. Liam is considered the future, but depending on Ricciardo's performance post-Hungary, he may only win the seat in 2025, and to acquire one earlier, he may need to depart as Alex Albon did. Well then, what does this mean for Perez in the long run? Red Bull has no replacement for Perez, and with Yuki slated to join Honda at Aston Martin after 2024, the seat is wide open. Marco recently stated that he considered Lando Norris as an excellent driver to combine with Max. He has a contract with McLaren until 2025, but is by far the strongest among the young drivers. He would also suit Red Bull best because of his youthful personality. It's no secret that Max and Lando are good friends, Marco said. But we are not sure he would replace Perez because, quite frankly, he's not been up to scratch in recent races. And if Red Bull wants to dominate the constructors like Mercedes did, then they need two competent drivers that are able to push each other. Lando would be great, but is it the best move for him, as Red Bull is very much set up to favor Max? Only time will tell if Lando comes to Red Bull. But one thing we've all been waiting for is news as to what is happening with the Andretti bid, with Toto saying once again that there's no space for a new team. Our position was very clear as a team, but you know there's a lot of consequences when you look at qualifying sessions. I mean, we're already looking like a go-kart track. We're tripping over each other, Wolf commented on Friday. We've tried, but nobody's interested. We've been to every single team. They keep saying to buy a team, but nobody wants to sell you. They're not even interested in talking. I've been there and done that. Everybody has their own reasons why they're doing things. They're trying to protect their own interests. I can't blame them. Everybody's looking out for themselves. When I said that, I got criticized because I don't agree with it, Andretti told race fans. That was all the latest news and exclusive updates on all happenings at Alpha Tauri. We are thrilled just as you are to witness the results. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.